Right, guys, it's the January transfer window, so we're going to discuss who the top 6 clubs should sign.
2026.
Come on! Let's do it. Happy New Year, guys, by the way. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any resolutions?
Buy better players.
That's a good start.
Good start.
Okay, on that note, we are going to start with Liverpool after what we could call, at the moment, a disastrous summer. At the moment.
I didn't make any faces. I didn't even react to what you said.
You did a little bit.
It's so astoundingly bad take.
You did a little bit.
Okay.
Who should Liverpool sign in January?
Can I do that thing people do at the top of podcasts and say something outrageous?
Please.
If it all works out how you don't want it to.
Let it all. Oh, no, you like doing that.
We like that one.
Yeah.
Is it the worst transfer window in Premier League history?
What do you think when you say or it works out in what way?
Say Isak doesn't work out, Wirtz doesn't work out. Like say
doesn't work out.
None of it works out.
Wirtz is working out.
Yeah, doesn't like it.
Is it? Is he?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to watch some good football, or you just want to keep watching Spurs?
He's
I don't know what's going on here. What's going on?
He's getting defensive.
No, I just wondered how
Just
much-
a question.
Do you know if we had
It's just a question. I'm just asking. I'm just asking questions.
That's very good.
Carry on.
Do you know in a number of games, if obviously, I don't think Wirtz was the issue. I don't think Isak was the issue. And I think a lot of people are currently pinning their hats or their arguments on the overall team system not being good, on these individuals therefore not performing. I just don't think that's a fair way of putting it.
It's a lovely roundabout the House's answer.
You genuinely think that Brian Wirtz hasn't had a good game for Liverpool?
No, I'm asking, with the amount of money that you've spent, is there potential, is there a world in the future where it could be seen as the worst ever transfer window? That's what I'm asking.
I think it would be an extremely hot take to say it's the worst transfer window ever.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying could it work? Could it work out?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Who are we going to sign? Liverpool.
You go.
No, you do it because I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, I think you need a centre half, almost certainly, and obviously Gay would be the one. I think Schlotterbeck is a good pick.
Apparently we've cooled our interest on him. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know whether it's because he's kind of agreed to go somewhere else or something else.
There is sort of people talk about him like in that sort of the Van Dijk mould. I do think you need to start thinking about that future.
I also think, if you sign Mark Gahey, you've got someone who's going to want to start every game. I wonder if the idea would be transition him to that left-hand side once Van Dijk was to leave. He could probably complement him on that right-hand side because he's done that for Crystal Palace as well. I just think it's the competition for Mark Gahey that's out there right now. We probably missed the window where it feels easy to get him, but we'll probably end up paying a decent fee for him now because we want to get there ahead of someone else. And I think there are a number of sides that would be into him. But, it depends on which headlines you believe, whether he's looked at somewhere else or wants to go somewhere else, or whether it is just Palace going, go on then, pay us more, because there's so many teams interested.
He feels to me like one of those guys who will want to respect Palace, and it might be a he decides not to kind of situation.
Not to go to Liverpool.
Yeah. That is in January. I think he'll want to see the season out of Palace.
Well, I just wonder about whether, obviously, Glasner kind of had his say, but now what's weird is Glasner got Mark Gahey to stay, saying that he would walk if Mark Gahey left, and now Glasner's not signing his contract.
Was that not more though, like in the manner he leaves, like without any replacements?
Yeah,
that I think it was more a sense of like if he leaves with no replacement, then
I do find it weird that Palace chose until the very last minute to replace him.
Wasn't he like a fitness class? There was some story about like Steve Parish was in like a fitness class or something.
He's always in a fitness class.
Yeah.
So I think Mark Gahey's a good argument. I think we'll also probably go for Semenyo, mainly because I think we want to preempt or empt the Salah transfer.
Post-empt, maybe.
Yeah. I post-empted the Salah transfer.
Okay, we'll stay up north. We'll go to Manchester United next. Who should Man United sign?
For me, it's got to be a midfielder. It's got to be someone like Baleba, someone in that ilk. He's obviously not had that season. Maybe that's helped his transfer fee drop. They just need someone who can be meaningful for them in midfield. There's too many times we've seen it in recent games where they've just given games away.
The problem for United is that they've again found themselves in a desperate situation. So the thing they really need to do is go and get Elliot Anderson, and that's going to cost them £120 million. Like if they were really trying to fix the problem, that's what they do.
It would be amazing if they got Elliot Anderson,
but they won't be able to.
I also partly, what I'm hearing all this stuff about Bruno Fernandes come out and said all of the, the club wanted to get rid of me. I just wonder if he's paving the way for leaving the club when they do go big on someone like Elliot Anderson, so that fans know, I didn't force my way out. I was kind of put out, and they moved on. And actually, if I'd have stayed, I'd have been this great guy. And I've got a lot of time for Bruno as a player, as a man, but I'm not sure I want him as a player. And I'd upgrade to Baleba or Anderson or anyone, just because I think they offer something that I feel is more tangible. And I think the problem for Bruno Fernandes, if you go through other players in that United team under Amorim or under any of the managers they want, maybe even Glasner, you get more out the side. And there's times where I think he becomes a bit of a bottleneck. And that's not to say he's not a good player.
Because they said it on commentary the other day that anything good that happens, or whenever Manchester United get back into games, it's normally Bruno Fernandes that is part of it. But I also think, like you said, with the players like Baleba and Anderson, I also do think if you're putting those players into a Man United squad and their job is to secure the midfield, it's going to make it very hard to secure a midfield when Bruno Fernandes is not structured and he's darting here, there and everywhere.
And I also think with that, there is this theory in basketball in the States called Ewing theory, which Bill Simmons came up with, which is basically Patrick Ewing was one of the best players on the New York Knicks. And the idea was we'll only win a championship with him. But he got injured and he wasn't in the side. And they didn't lose any more games. They if anything, they were slightly better as an overall unit. That's the idea.
Yeah.
I think there are players in football where it's a similar idea, whereas if you took Bruno out of the team, there's probably other players that step up because they feel more responsibility on the field, B, players who can play their role because they feel that Bruno is maybe floating a little bit less, and C, you would maybe have slightly more, it's not pragmatic, but like industrial players that would maybe, instead of putting that high ball in that Fernandes put in against whoever after we're watching this, I think they'll just make more literal decisions. They'll go, the ball needs to go to Cunha, the ball needs to go to Mbeumo, whereas at the moment it's like, it goes to Bruno, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. There's too many people to share the ball with in that hot space, as people call it, right ahead of the penalty area. I take that out of the equation, sit someone a bit deeper, watch Cunha and those guys come to life.
Alex, any suggestions?
I think really, for me, the manager's not right. So I'm already we're starting at.
What are you doing then? I like him. Keep him.
Already we're starting at a disadvantage. But if you're going to fill one of those two midfield roles, I think there's a lot in. Yeah, you're in the damned if you do, damned if you don't thing with Bruno. I think a lot of United fans would actually love the idea because Casemiro has kind of grown in a lot of people's esteem. There's a lot of United fans who are quite big fans of Casemiro.
Yeah.
And I think they'd love to do. There's a guy at Alkmaar called Kees Schmidt. You could go for another sort of hipster type pick. I think they go and do one of those type deals to supplement the midfield for those numbers and probably stay till the end of the season. I think that's probably what they'll do. I mean, I would just change the system. That's so. I'm trying to
four at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. It doesn't change the need for another midfielder, though, even if you did go to 4 at the back. I think you still need someone in there who's either an out-and-out 6 or willing to just play that little bit deeper.
But playing in a 2 versus in a 3, it changes what you're after.
I get what you're saying. I still think you need that talented player in there. I still think you don't get through to the end of the season in a meaningful place. And I actually think he's got more of a tune out of the team this season, but I still think you'd want to make a big statement signing and probably, frankly, show other people we still are moving forward as a club. Still show we've got intention, because it could make the following summer quite difficult with it being World Cup summer or those kind of things. Everyone's going to be moving about. Everyone's going to be going for those big names. Try and get in for Anderson before anyone else does. The other name that's sort of being floated around now is Adam Wharton.
They can't get him.
I just think I think there are too many other people in for him.
Yeah.
But again, fundamentally changes what United are capable of if you put Wharton or...
And also, mate, Wharton works because he's got Kamada next to him. Sure. And Kamada works so hard out of possession. And if you've got Wharton and Fernandes, that's a recipe for disaster. Not because they're not brilliant players, but because you need that complement.
So my point is, I think
if
Bruno will go.
Yeah.
I think ultimately. I think he's realised he's going to be pushed at some point.
Yeah.
Even though they've offered him all these new contracts and everything else.
Of course, we'll stay in Manchester then. City, who do they need to sign? So realistically, get as close as possible to winning that league.
They have such a complete squad. I mean, the only two things I see are in the midfield. I still think if you watch them, they give up a lot of chances centrally, like runners off the midfield and like running back.
They need a replacement for Rodri.
No, because I think Nico Gonzalez is brilliant. I think Rodri will come back. So that's just a time game. For me, probably the only thing they need is basically what happens if Haaland falls over. That's their problem.
Right.
I look at someone like Kevin Schade at Brentford. and just go
That's
like
the same name I had.
That's
but I had that for a few teams.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's a name that I go, that feels relatively inexpensive. It's a different type of option, a lot quicker, works incredibly hard off the ball. It's someone who could take some minutes off Haaland, but also like do enough of a good job. And I think City could adapt to him, Shirky and Foden playing balls in behind for him. I think there's enough goals to get through.
I think Marmoush was kind of meant to be off him, and then maybe when they wanted to sub Haaland, Marmoush.
But Schada's got more centre forward to him.
And
also could probably play out wide as well, which is why I pick him.
I personally think Haaland, maybe similar to the other prolific guys in the Premier League, just wants to play as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say... I think the point you're taking Haaland off in a game, you're either changing the tactics so fundamentally that maybe Schada's not that guy. That would be my only point. Well, actually, I'm going to make another point. Or you've won the game.
Right.
But I think if Haaland falls over, that's the point. It's the singular point. At some point, I can't remember what it was like 54% of their goals.
I think if Haaland falls over, then Pep fundamentally changes a few things and starts playing more towards other people's strengths. I don't think he brings in another striker. I mean, he would need to bring in another striker, but I think he would probably
put like a false nine type
right or closer to that, maybe something else. So for me, the name I'd be looking at, and they'll probably go back in for him next summer, but let's see if they can tempt him away. In the meantime, is Livramento. Really interested in him anyway. Last summer, he is a great player. He's a classic Pep kind of player. I think he's also a classic Pep in this new era style player, in his versatility, but also in his marauding nature, also in his adventurousness, also in the way he can hook up with other people. I think he suits everything about this new Man City system. And I know that obviously they've played relatively well with like O'Reilly and then Nunes on the other side. I just think Livramento would be such an interesting player to see in there and probably put his name on one of those two positions and then lock down in England plays.
I think with O'Reilly and Livramento, if they're the two, that's a very, very...
Yeah.
I would also be really interested to see if someone like Bradley Barcola came free, whether someone like City would be willing to step in for him. Because, if we're talking about... It's not about backups. It's about... If Haaland did fall over, who could we move into the centre? Well, this guy plays out on the left, and he can also. I'd just be interested to see. But maybe that's the whole reason he'd leave PSG. He's not the man there anymore.
That feels like a summer move to me.
Let's see who falls out in January.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to London now. We are going to move to Chelsea. Who do Chelsea need to buy this January?
Saw a number the other day. Some numbers that they have the most goals scored by defenders and midfielders and the least goals scored by strikers. I think that basically,
and they just bought a few as well.
Yeah, I think that basically sums it up.
Seems unfair on the strikers they have, but I get your point. I think when they bought Delap, but it's kind of like Trafford at City. It's a bit like, hey, come on in, you'll be number one. Oops.
Gone. And injuries didn't help as well, I suppose.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, and I think Chelsea are constantly trying to solve the number 9 thing, like just constantly.
Just don't give them the number 9. It's cursed.
Yeah.
Just don't give it.
I mean, this is such a FIFA pick, but I still think
the organisation FIFA, or what is now known as EAFC.
I still think Victor Osimhen would cook in the Premier League.
I agree.
I get what you mean by a FIFA pick.
It's such a career mode. It's such a career mode pick. It's so FIFA. It probably wouldn't happen. But I just, for me, in my head, Victor Osimhen and Chelsea makes so much sense. And that feels like a thing that I want to give massive credit to Maresca. I think he's been basically like the fact people have been talking about in a title race this season was never expected, and then he drops out a little bit. And Chelsea fans get this guy out.
He's not.
He's doing one of the youngest squads in the league, or maybe the youngest squad in the league. I think he's doing a really good job. I think if you gave him a number 9 like that, I think.
That's a big part of their problem, isn't it? Like they just don't have people who can.
True, but I think maybe if it's not a January solution, they need a keeper. I think any team needs a spine.
Do you know what's funny?
Who's that?
That's
Chelsea.
what I mean.
Chelsea fans are kind of not against Sanchez these days, because I thought this is.
I don't think you're going to get anywhere close to winning a league with Sanchez in goal. I'm sorry.
The ones I chat to
should go for Vicario. You're right.
No,
right. Okay.
No, but this is the point I'm saying.
They can have Kepa back.
The majority of teams, or every team that has won a Premier League title, they've got that spine of a goalkeeper that's consistent, the two, the back two, a centre midfielder, and a number 9. I just think it starts from in goal.
No, but then what about the centre back? But maybe if they had more protection at centre back, would it be better? I know there are a lot of names, and we were just talking about Mark Gahey. At one point, he was linked with Chelsea. What if they were to go for a crazy?
I think a lot of Chelsea fans would theoretically, if injuries weren't a thing, Fofana and Colwill would be their picks. So it's like they're waiting to see that, I think, because they've
Still
had.
though, is that a centre half partnership that win you a league?
Well, not
Get you close?
potentially not, but they literally haven't seen it. And and Levi Colwill at one point looked really good.
So
Wesley Fofana at one point looked really good.
Your point, but the whole point of centre backs is they have to be fit. You can't. I think any centre back that isn't fit for 32, 33 games a season, you're not going to win a title for that. And I get that obviously Arsenal have gone out there and bought some incredible backup centre-backs in Hincapié and Mosquera, but that's kind of beyond the point here. Not every side can go out there and I don't think Chelsea would be going to any centre-back in the league right now, or any league, and say, hey, we're about to win the league. Do you want to come over here and come and do something? But I think that's the problem for Chelsea. They need to build a spine before they're even thinking about winning a league. So you're right about the goalkeeper, but for me, the centre-back is above that because you just need someone to boss that back line, and Sanchez will probably take better instruction than the other way around. Centre midfield, they've fixed. Striker, like Victor Osimhen makes so much sense to me.
But it felt like that in the summer. It felt like the goalkeeper point and the centre-half point was the thing they needed to fix. So they go and buy Garnacho and Pedro and Delap. And you're like, hang on a minute. Your problem is you've conceded so many goals you shouldn't have conceded. You're making individual goalkeeper mistakes that shouldn't be there. So you go and sign 3 forwards, which, again, at the moment, haven't worked out.
I think if you asked Chelsea fans, and I don't know this, but the ones that I talk to, they would rank it centre-back pairing, 9 very close together, and then the goalie somewhere in it. It's a problem, but it's not the priority now. Fix it. That's I don't know, but that's the ones I chat to.
Okay, so we'll move to Arsenal. Who do Arsenal need to sign?
So a lot of people would look at maybe the forward areas or somewhere else. I think there is an accident waiting to happen potentially in midfield, and we need to sign some legs. And for what we want to do, which is to dominate every single phase of play, kings of everything, guys. That was Mikel Arteta. Right. No, just had a little. Where am I?
He had a bit of moment there, didn't he?
Wow. Mikel Arteta was in the room.
Mikel came through it.
Mikel, you see it? Grandma.
Stop that. I think we need legs. Buadi would be my pick because I'm watching it at the minute. I think it looks really good. He has just signed a new contract, but it feels like one of those kind of contracts to stave people off. Well, this is the problem, Laurence, is we signed Norgard, which I was okay with because I'm like, but then we literally haven't played him.
Yeah,
he's played centre back, but we haven't played him. We haven't seen him. There. So I think if it's kind of more of an annoyance with the club, really. I don't care. Just if you're, well, I do care, but if you're not going to, like, I wanted. Well, whoever in the midfield, but if you're going to go for not the cheap option, but someone who's not a long-term fix, that's fine. They have to come into the team and be ready when called upon.
Is it a club signing or is it an Arteta signing? Because I think Arteta has the majority say over most signings.
Isn't it Barada now who has all these big... No, sorry, not Barada. Who's your new guy?
Betty?
Betty, yeah.
Betty. They got the two legs.
He comes in and Arteta's gone, he's not really the quality we're looking for.
I think, I don't know. I mean, also, what can happen, obviously, is you get a player and you think this guy's going to be great. He turns up in the first training session, you go, so that can happen.
Right, so Calvin Phillips.
We've had a few of those.
You can do all the you can do that. Due diligence you want, but ultimately if a player comes in and doesn't look quite right, look, if we can get through the season, it will be a bit of a because we've signed we have 9 defenders and they're all getting injured, and at some point you have to have a cut off. You have to have a cut off of we can't sign anymore. We have to get them fit. That becomes a fitness issue.
Is there any logic in the Timber thing, sort of him slotting into midfield if you did need the legs?
Possibly, yeah. And people have spoken about Ben White in that sense as well. But I just think if we sign there was Fofana was a conversation at one point. Goumet at Sevilla was a conversation at one point. But my current love is Buadi.
Okay, last club of the top 6. We're going to go to Tottenham. Who do they need to sign to get their season back on track?
How many signings can we do?
Funny that they're lost. Look, I've said this. I think from all the statements from your owners, from what's happened with over the summer and stuff, if you aren't in for Semenyo heavy, that is a bad look.
How
in my
heavy
opinion.
do they have to be, though, in for Semenyo to
Laurence,
beat?
It's the same thing every transfer window. It's we tried, but we just couldn't get it over the line. It's been the story.
Don't say
it. It's been the story for 4, 5, 6, 10 years now. The ownership is now gone. Apparently, let's see if things change. But if they don't change,
it's the most tap-in signing of all time. Ironically, because he scores some great goals. He has a release clause. Yeah. He can play both sides. he would come in immediately. I think at one point he was only behind Haaland for goals and
Why
assists.
would he agree to go to Spurs when he has everyone else offering him? He can go to Arsenal, he could go to Liverpool.
I'm not saying he should go. I'm an Arsenal fan. Do you think I'm saying go to Spurs?
I'm saying all over the place.
I know. But from a Spurs perspective, it's like if you're not in for that player, that is criminal.
So purely for headline's sake,
no, it's not the headline. Semenyo
you're just wasting your time.
And also, he perfectly suits the Premier League now in terms of the physicality,
City,
the long balls.
United and
carries.
Liverpool are in for him. You might as well just go and do admin on something else because it's not worth it unless one of those three. No, but honestly, you're not
right. So if you're Spurs, you just go, oh, there's a release clause. So I know if I pay the money, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to have a conversation with.
I make the call, and my call.
I'll just let Man United do it.
The call goes. Do you want to stay? Do you want to be in London? And then apart from that, it's sort of like, why would you not go to City or Liverpool or Manchester United ahead of Spurs?
Oh, I told you, training ground, the facilities, Beyonce in the summer.
It's lovely.
Come on.
It's an absolute complex. Why would you...
complex?
It's an absolute complex.
Free Skywalk Pass will get the lot.
No, and I get that. And obviously you go and see the big... You go and
see the big cock.
The top. And, there's the wrestling and the Beyonce
boxing.
F1.
Right, but...
Squid Game experience? Is that still going?
Taylor Swift did Anfield as well, so don't forget that. I think
they always make it about them.
There are other experiences. If he's going somewhere, it's very unlikely he'll go to Spurs because first of all, he probably wants to go and win a Premier League title, which Spurs are maybe 2 or 3 seasons away from. And then
that was a good joke.
It's more funny to me, but you get what I'm saying,
right? So if you're at Spurs, you're not even asking the question.
I'm
is that what you're
in the room going,
is that what you're saying?
Doing here? Why
is that what you're saying? You're saying if you're Spurs, who's your guy? Paratici? Is it Paratici?
Yeah.
If you're Paratici, you're not. Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
If
offshore,
whoever it is going in. If they caught you outside the room, you'd go. Do you know what, mate? I wouldn't even bother.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think this transfer window, whoever it is, whether it's Semenyo or someone else, it's got to be a statement of intent from Spurs because we've gone from when Jack Grealish was at Villa of us having to pay 40 million for Jack Grealish and we didn't want to pay it. Sure. We've then had this summer with the whole mess of Gibbs, White, Eze, everyone we wanted.
I remember that.
Not coming because we just around with the price and didn't pay what was asked for, etc., and left it until the last minute to try and sign these players. And again, even Gibbs White release clause, bang, we pay it. Still somehow managed to mess that up. I don't
know if you messed that up.
Or if Gibbs White was at gunpoint, we don't know. But I do think that
Thank you, Mr. Marinakis.
Yeah, sorry if you're watching this. But yeah, I just think this summer, this January window with the new owners at Spurs who have come out and Levy before he left, his last statement 3 weeks before he left was like, we are a team that want to win the Champions League and want to win the Premier League within the next 5 seasons. Right. Big statement. If you're not going to sign anyone and pay the asking price, you're not going to win anything.
Does he not say that into the microphone though and then walk away laughing? Like,
you don't hear the laughter, it gets cut, but probably.
Right, but he kind of goes, I'm leaving. My legacy, obviously, if he's not an idiot, then he wants his legacy to be as good as possible. He wants the people to build on his legacy. Daniel Levy leaves. I think you've centre mids you need to be looking at, just someone who can offer something more.
The biggest mistake, and I think this is why people call Spurs fans toxic at the moment with the booing for Vicario and the booing of the squad, is because we had a chance. We didn't win the Champions League in 2019, but that was our biggest chance, like Arsenal did, where they were close to winning something and didn't win it. They went and spent £105 million on Rice. They then got close to second year, didn't do it, and they kept building with Zubimendi and kept getting all these players. We didn't do that. We had a brilliant squad in Kane, in Son, in Eriksen, and Ali. We had a good back four, and we didn't invest when we had the chance in 2019. And now, however many years later, 6 years later, you are seeing the downfall. You're seeing the reason we didn't invest at the time when we were up here with Pochettino. Pochettino lost 7-2 against Bayern Munich or whatever, looked over and went, what am I supposed to do now? This squad's failing me and we've got lack of depth. And this is why Spurs fans are so frustrated at the moment, because a mistake that was made 6 years ago is now the reason why we finished 17th last season. Yes, we won a trophy, but anyone can win a trophy on a cup run, a decent cup run. We finished 17th last season. We had a 3-game spell at the start of this season where, things are going to change. And we're back to where we were because the squad's not good enough and we don't pay the asking price. God, I got that off my chest. I had to get that off my chest.
So which player looks at that and goes,
£50, please?
Yeah. Can't wait. Like, Semenyo's not going to leave Bournemouth for someone, honestly, that potentially finishes below Bournemouth.
I get that.
This season, that's not an unreasonable thing to say.
No.
And Bournemouth aren't going to. I just don't see why he would do that. It doesn't make any sense. And I'd also look at that and go, okay, you had some statement of intent signings last summer that you just didn't get. So if he's going to go there...
We tried, but couldn't get them over the line.
Yeah, but that's kind of...
But that's our story.
A statement of intent has to actually show the intent. You can't just go, we did try it.
That's what we have done. That's literally...
We were actually intending to win the league this year. You don't get a trophy for that. So that's my problem with Spurs. I think there's other much bigger issues where if I was Semenyo, I'd just be looking at that and going, do I want to be booed off the pitch every week? Or?
If it's not Semenyo, and you've said that also midfield is an issue, we also are crying out, in my opinion, for an out number 9 because we don't know what's going on with Solanke's injury. Who else does Spurs sign? I know there's a lot of signings to turn this squad around to anything that's competing on that level of front again, where we're in some sort of title race again like we were years ago, or getting closer in the latter stage of the Champions League, or staying in the Champions League spaces. Who do we sign? Who are some of the players incoming?
You need the next Adam Wharton. That's what you need. Whoever that is. I mean, as far as I'm seeing, the issues that Spurs are around progression, right? It's just getting the ball forward. And that's what Adam Wharton does.
Well, not even that. When we get the ball forward, there is no creativity once the ball's in those forward areas anyway.
I think it's really interesting because you obviously have Maddison. Maddison's not really... It's not come to fruition yet. But he was a bit of a statement of intent.
But why was he a statement of intent? Because we got him off the cheap of a Leicester side that got relegated. So we thought, perfect. Yeah, but it's low risk for Spurs because it's less money. Whereas we do not go high risk. We don't buy £105 million Rice and go, if it doesn't work out, we've just wasted 105 million. We'll just go, we're going to spend it anyway. And I think, again, the one time we kind of have done a statement is spending 65 million on Solanke, again, who wasn't a world beater like Rice was kind of at West Ham. And again, whether it's injuries, whatever it is, it still hasn't worked out yet.
It did confuse me why you spent so much on Solanke when there were probably other players out there.
I thought you were talking to me then. I was like, we didn't.
But it did confuse me as to why you went so big on him.
I didn't.
How much was it?
I just don't know. 65 million. And it was our record signing.
If you add another 15 million on, you're in the Ekitike region of...
I said this earlier, we bought, no disrespect, it's not worked out for Tell right now. He's young, so it could progression, but we spent 30 million on Tell that could have been, again, used to secure the Eze deal earlier than when it was all the faffing between when both teams were competing and stuff like that.
If those things such a bad look. If those things come through, though,
just to be clear. If any of those guys, I suppose even if one of them comes off, it still doesn't mean you're not top 4, are you? I think that's part of your problem. And Harry Kane is just such a big space. And Son's left a massive space.
Yeah. And again, we've got Kulusevski and Maddison to come back, but...
Kulusevski's such a miss for me. I think Kulusevski's massive.
One of Romero or Van der Ven might go next summer, you think?
Again, if one of them goes, they're always linked to Real Madrid. Yeah. Always linked, and that's a possibility because they are very, very unique defenders. But
Neville interviews.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as the Neville interviews come out, we know something's happening.
And his dad sat there like a bouncer.
Exactly, we know something's about to happen. Anyway, guys, let us know, especially with the top 6 clubs, is there anyone that they should sign this January? And for your club as well at home, who should you sign this January? Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Bet442. There is a QR code on the screen and a link in the description below.